Okay, hello everyone. So today I thought I would start a little bit of like a series for this channel, which will be going through all of this massive basket of clothes that I have, which are things that just need either small alterations or sometimes they're pieces which I really love but they don't fit me properly or they're a bit broken, so I want to give them a new life and recreate them into something more interesting. I thought this would be a good way to show you guys different sewing skills, whether it be something like a small alteration, you know, like changing the waist shape of something to fit better, or whether it be creating something completely new from a already made garment. So I thought I would go through all of this maybe every second week or so, pick something out to go through and create something out of it. What I'm going to be going through today are these pants, which I absolutely love, and they basically fit me perfectly except for the waist, which is a problem I have with a lot of pants, and I think a lot of people probably have the same problem, where it fits fine around my hips but the waist is just a little bit too big. So I thought this would be a good video and just show you how to really easily fix a pair of pants, just the shaping of them in the sides. It's a really quick fix, so it shouldn't take too long, and it's a really easy thing to do even if you're just a beginner sewer. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is put the pants on and check where they're not fitting correctly. The most important thing to do with all kind of pants is look at where the panel lines are, because this will be the easiest way to take them in. So we've got the side seam and then also these front and back middle seams. So looking at these pants on me, you can see the front is actually fitting quite flat to my stomach, so that's a good fit. The waist is a little bit big, so that will need to be taken in. But then on top of that, the back is also a little bit baggy, and that will need to be taken in as well. So what we're going to do is go around and measure how wide that is. So looking at that, it looks about 1 centimeter, and then we'll hold that, go to the back, pinch out this, and then measure this. That looks about 1 centimeter as well. So the most important thing is to look at how your pants are fitting on you. Most pants won't have these front seams, they'll just have the side seams, so you want to take it all out of the side. However, make sure if it is baggier at the back but fitting fine at the front, you take more from the back then, so that the back becomes a tight and flat finish on your skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure how much needs to be taken out of the back and the side. I'll pinch this, and I think actually about 1.5 will be taken out, and then this, keeping in mind there's already 1.5 taken out there. We want the zipper to sit in the middle of the back, so when I'm holding this I'm making sure that's still sitting centered. So 1.5 there and 1.5 at the back as well, so I'll do the same on both sides so it's all even. And also make sure, depending on your fabric, if it's got stretch with it, to make sure to take out just a little bit extra, maybe not even 0.5 extra, just so that if it does stretch at all when you're stitching or when you're pulling it on and off, that it will still sit nice and tight. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off and then pin them and sew down the side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn the pants inside out, just like so, and as you can see, your pair of pants might be a little bit different. They could have a waistband or they could have a facing like this. If they have a facing like this, it will likely be stitched down. So it's not stitched down the whole way, it's just stitched down at these certain points. We've just got to unpick those. So I'm just going to snip them. Just like that, so we can get into the seam easily. So I'm only going to unpick these at the seams that we're going to use. So we're only using the side seam and this back seam, we're not using the front one. Okay, and then we can fold this up out of the way. So as you can see, because these pants are done, they're completely sewn, there's going to be a little bit of, you know, pulling issue with where it's been stitched before, but you can easily just kind of push it flat when you're trying to stitch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch out 1.5 centimeters on both of these side seams, making sure to measure from the stitching line in. If you measure from the cut edge here, it won't be enough being taken out, because when you wear them, when it's pulled flat against your body, you're measuring from that stitching line, not from the cut edge, if that makes sense. So 1.5 in from there, and if needed you might need to, depending on the fabric and how it is pulling, you want to make sure that the top seam here is matching up on the other side, so that it will create a really smooth, neat finish. So you might need to snip in here because this has been stitched down to the side. So I'm just going to snip in here. Just like that, just so that can be pulled really nice and flat, like so. And also, like I said, your pants might be different. If you have a facing like this, I'll just pull it to the side so you can kind of hopefully see a little bit clearer. If you have a facing like this, what you're going to need to do is stitch into the facing as well, because otherwise when you turn it back down, it's going to have this weird pucker on the inside. So all I'm going to do is lay the seam flat like so. I'm going to measure in 1.5, so that's 1.5, and pin it, so just there. And then when we stitch this, we don't want 1.5 taken off the whole leg, because it did actually fit quite fine around the rest, so we just want to taper it in softly. And what we'll do is try to create the same length around the whole pant, just so it creates a really even look. So I'm probably going to make it about, let's say like 16 centimeters. So we want it to match back at the 16 centimeter mark. So when we're stitching it, we're going to stitch a nice straight diagonal, just like that. So I'll pin the rest. So you can see we're just gonna come in like that. And then on this facing, we just need to pull it flat. So like I said, because this has already been stitched here, it's gonna be a little bit tricky. We just want to try to match the same distance here as will be when it folds back. So if we just fold it back like so, we can kind of, you know, this will be an estimate, it's not going to be perfect. We can kind of see it will have already come down to maybe about 1 centimeter. So we can pin that in there as well. So just so it will kind of be closer in, come further out to the 1.5, and then come back to this side seam here. So we'll stitch this in same color thread, making sure to double tack the ends so it's nice and sturdy, making sure the waist seam matches so that when it pulls through, it creates a really clean and neat finish where the lines match up. Pulling it down to this edge really nice and soft, even creating a slight curve so that it really blends into this stitching line neatly, and finish by just stitching a few stitches along this stitching line and double tacking down there. So I'm going to do this on all of the sides because we want 1.5 on all of them. I'm going to do 1.5 on all of them as well, and I'll just machine stitch this. Now depending on your fabric, you might want to hand stitch. That's really depending on your machine and the fabric. If you're doing this on jeans or something with a really thick fabric like denim, your machine, if it's a home sewing machine, might struggle to get through the denim. So either have a denim needle or you might have to hand stitch it. Okay, so I stitched all 4 of those down. So as you can see, starting in the facing, coming down and then tapering in. Now what we're going to do is, again, an optional step, and it will depend on your pants. As you can see here, there's quite a lot of bulk coming through, and so when we turn it back around, it doesn't really sit very flat, and you can see there's a lot of seam in there. Now, this is optional and it will really depend on your fabric, the style of pants, if it has a facing, if it has a waistband, what the difference is. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut in and get rid of all of that bulk. So I'm going to leave most of this side seam just because there's not really any need to get rid of it. I'll just kind of start from, let's say here, and begin cutting up through the bulk, leaving about 1 centimeter or so. Again, depending on your fabric, depending on how it's going to sit, you can try it on at this stage as well, make sure that it is fitting perfectly, and see where the bulk is kind of standing out. So getting rid of that, when we pull it through, it will sit a lot neater now and a lot flatter, so there's not that kind of bulky fabric. Then what I'm also going to do is stitch the facing back down the exact same way it was stitched down before. This is just so when you're wearing the pants it doesn't roll up or move around. And you can also go over this and overlock the side seam if you want. I'm not going to, just because I don't really feel the need to. This fabric isn't going to fray, and yeah, I just don't think there's a need to. And you can just make sure that any of the seams aren't going to be too obvious. Also, if you like this side have the tag, I suggest if you do want to cut down to here you can, but keep the tag just so you know all the washing instructions and everything. You don't want to get rid of that. So I'm going to do this to all of the pieces. So folding the facing down, it should create a really nice smooth line along the waist, and that's really what's important, because you want, when you're wearing it, for it to all line up super neat. So I'm just going to hand stitch these down really simply, just a little tack to make it sit flat, and just like that it's all done. So you can do this with any pair of pants. Main thing is just to make sure you're stitching at an already made seam, and taking an even amount from both sides so that it creates a even and, you know, sharp look, and so that, you know, the center seam is still in the center, everything still looks proportionate. Yeah, it's a really easy way to fix the shaping of pants or even skirts. I always find I have the problem where pants gape at the back, or just a little bit large on my waist but fit fine on my hips. Just my body type, I suppose. I have this issue all the time, so being able to fix pants like this is a really quick and easy way to make, you know, a pair of pants that you might love just fit a little bit better. So I will show you how these look now that they are done, and yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. So as you can see now, they are fitting super tight, you know, just how they're meant to fit. So we don't have any gaping at the back or the side. They still have enough room that I can breathe and like move around in fine. So yeah, this is a really simple technique, an easy way to just fix up a pair of pants or even like skirt or anything that you need to just fit a little bit better. It's always great to fit clothes you buy in store to custom fit your shape better. It will just mean they look better, they'll be more comfortable to wear. You know, clothes are always made to kind of the one generic shape, but we're not one generic shape, so it's good to have this skill, I think, to be able to alter things to fit you perfectly. And yeah, I'm really happy with how these have turned out. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this idea for kind of like a video series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because I do have this whole tub to go through, plus I think 2 other tubs of clothes that just don't fit right or are old and I need to do something new with. So let me know if you want to see more of these videos. I will probably try to put a couple more up at least. And yeah, please comment, like, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Also check out my blog and shop, it will be linked below. So thank you for watching, bye!